We have a ton of things to break down this morning, you guys, from finding out our opponents in this year's Carabao Cup final to the latest news surrounding DEMBELE, as well as the new FIFA regulations that you guys have to know and find out about. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Smash that like button, and without wasting any more time, we kick things off with some FIFA 22 news, as Jorginho and N'Golo Kante have been inducted in this year's Team of the Year. Of course, big congratulations to both our Chelsea stars, you guys. I'm looking forward to, kind of building like a super Chelsea team in FIFA this year. So of course, I'm gonna have to cop that Jorginho card and that Kante one as well too. It is a full team for all you guys who are curious to see who it is. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys already are shaking your heads, you're scratching your heads, you're in utter disbelief. I'm very surprised at some of the selections I'm seeing here. No Rudiger, for example, is a bit of a bummer. No Mendy as well too, makes no sense. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little bit triggered by the fact that for some reason Jorginho is rated higher than Kante, but hey, it's just a video game. I get it. We all have bigger things to deal with in our lives today, you guys. I completely get that, but how are you guys finding this team selection? What cards are of interest to you as well too? Comment below if you guys are planning on building a super Chelsea team in FIFA this year. We move on to the next story, and let's discuss the new FIFA regulations that come into effect this July 2022. Now, we've known about these rule changes for a while now, and in fact, these rules were supposed to take effect in 2020. However, COVID delayed everything. So you might be wondering, why have FIFA done this in particular? Why are they introducing new regulations when it comes to loanies? Well, it comes down to a few reasons. I'm going to focus on the key points in the video today though. And the reason behind FIFA's decision comes to the fact that they want to reduce the amount of hoarding that goes on with many clubs having their own personal loan armies. They want to make sure that there aren't any competitive balance issues that arise from this as well too. And of course, they want to make it better for younger players to get more care and focus when it comes to actually going out on loan as well too. Now, of course, these rules weren't made only for us. In fact, we weren't even the first club to introduce the use of like loan armies to, of course, make money as well too, which is the main reason behind it. Look at clubs like City, look at clubs like Watford, clubs like Brighton have more players out on loan compared to us as well too. And many clubs in Serie A, and honestly, you guys, you can go on. So I completely understand the new regulations that are taking effect. Now, the key bits of information you guys need to know are the fact that this rule will only be enforced on international loans. No more than 8 players older than 22 can be loaned out at a given time. This will drop to 7 in 2023, and this will drop to 6 in 2024. For players under 21 years old, and not all, and are club trained, they don't have to be part of these limitations. And I guess this gives more of an opportunity for clubs to really focus more on the talents they possess. I guess if these limits apply to players under 21 years old, that can maybe encourage more players being stuck at like a reserve level or youth team level, where maybe in fact, there's a pathway to accelerate the careers at this point in time. And of course, getting that early exposure to first team football can not only benefit the player, their career, but potentially the club as well too. So, for me, this makes a lot more sense. And I guess the question now is, how does this rule change personally affect us at this point in time? Well, the good news is that we are, far below the quota, literally by 1 player. Currently, players like Michy Batshuayi, Baka, Emerson, Miazga, Rackman, and Danny Drinkwater would be affected. Of course, with Kennedy too, but he's currently back at the club at this point in time. So we are under the limits, of course, by having 7 out of the 8 requirements. Of course, for homegrown talent over 21, we only have Doodle, Sterling, Clark, Salter, Cummings, and Baxter, 2 reserve goalkeepers. So to be honest, we're really not going to be affected by this whatsoever. I guess this is just like a preventative measure for the future, and you'd imagine that players like Bakayoko and many others will be leaving come the end of the season too. So the club have already been, doing their bit to reduce the loan army in that sense, and I guess maybe this will make our lives easier, and hopefully for me, most importantly, we won't spend as much time now having to, waste time on dealing with their futures and finding loan clubs, and spend all that time focusing on transfer deals that benefit the first team. Now we continue on with the breaking story from yesterday, and that's in regard to the latest news surrounding DEMBELE. Now, of course, news broke yesterday of Barca's ultimatum, which kind of bordered on blackmail to Dembele and of course his agent Sissoko. For me, I personally get it. Barcelona can't afford to take a hit on this deal. They need to earn some money back from the ridiculous amounts of money they originally spent to sign Dembele to begin with. Of course, you know, in a month like this too, where you can sign pre-contract agreements, the fact that you can't agree on new contract terms this month will provide a lot of fear going into the future for Barcelona, because it's like, well, okay, if we don't find new terms going forwards, you can leave for next to nothing in the summer, and we are going to pay the price for that. So I understand the complications between Barcelona and, of course, Dembele's agent as well too. However, yesterday, you guys, on Instagram last night, Dembele released a statement in French and in Spanish as well on his personal Instagram account, where he wanted to use it as an opportunity to just, you know, try and just, you know, set the record straight a bit. Now, the too long don't read version, I'm going to just go through a few snippets from the statement. In it, he states that lies have been said against his character, and they have been spread over the past 4 years. He's only ever been professional and ready to represent Barcelona. He admits that he hasn't always been perfect. We know some of the stories. We've heard sometimes that he has arrived late to training. However, when you're young, it's kind of understandable, and it seemed like he had some difficulties just acclimatizing to life at Barcelona at that time. Moving on though, he says that he's only ever been professional and ready. There's been times that he's been even rushed back from injury too, and that just shows his dedication towards Barcelona, and he forbids anyone to suggest that his intentions are only financial, and he doesn't like the project that Barcelona have presented. He basically says, listen, what I do on the field is my focus. What my agent does on my behalf is his focus. We keep that separate, but I'm telling you that I fully trust him, and I trust that he has my back. So that was essentially the statement. And reports today coming out from France have stated that Barcelona have slapped on a 20 million valuation to sell Dembele before this month ends. Now this kind of falls and aligns with reports from yesterday suggesting that it would take a £50 million bid to potentially sign him. And I guess a player like him being available in January is going to send massive shockwaves across Europe. I guess it won't send shockwaves to one particular club, and that is Paris Saint-Germain, who just categorically won't be looking to sign him. And when you actually deeper for a second, how many clubs necessarily need Dembele in January at this point in time? I find that quite interesting. Of course, we know that, you know, Thomas Tuchel loves his former protege. Dembele has a ton of respect to as well too. Reports have been suggesting that Tuchel sees Dembele as worth the risk. He is worth that risk to sign. But the reality is too, we have to look at the squad we have. If Dembele was to come, we'd have to let players leave first. And the fact that we only have 10 days left until the window ends, you'd imagine that some quick business would have to be conducted to free up space for him. Unless maybe Pulisic will be the new right wing back for the remainder of the season until Reece James returns back to the team, which is probably 1 more month away now. And I guess the gamble would be, could we cope without a wing back for 1 more month until Reece James returns back? I think that's an interesting question to pose. But regardless, you guys, on a hypothetical one, yeah, we've seen previous reports that Barcelona had real, and I mean concrete, real interest in Christian Pulisic. And I released a story a few weeks or months back suggesting that, you know, when we got that proposal from them, our counter offer was asking for Frankie de Jong. We know that Barca have shown interest in Ziyech and Pulisic and Christensen as well too. Is there potential business here that could be done in which both parties could be satisfied? Could we see maybe Pulisic on a hypothetical one going on loan to a Barcelona, freeing up space for Dembele to be signed in this window? Because the club could be thinking, we need to guarantee Champions League football, and Dembele signing could really boost our chances even more, especially during the latter half of this season where, you know, the big must-win games come thick and fast. For me, I'm still curious. Personally, I'm not too confident on this deal. A part of me still feels like it doesn't necessarily make as much sense, and I guess some craziness would have to happen within the next 10 days for anything to happen. And when I think about players like Sergio Dest, a player that we've shown more real concrete interest for, I mean, who knows? Could we do something stupid and go for Dembele and Dest? I don't want to start getting you guys too hyped for gas, but you know, in football, man, crazier things have happened. So right now, move on to the next story, you guys. And we learned our opponents in this year's Carabao Cup final. We are playing against Liverpool, and I guess this is a rematch of that 04-05 game in which we can, you know, thank Stevie G for helping us get back in that game, which allowed us to win 3-2. In the end, I feel like our record against Liverpool in cup finals is quite decent. Let's not forget our famous double winning season, 11-12 season where we won the Champions League too. We also beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final courtesy of Didier Drogba. So you guys, you know, I feel like we have a team that's ready for Liverpool. Under Tuchel, I think our record's been quite decent against them as well. They really struggled to like break us down and score much against us. And after that 2-2 draw in which we weren't even fully fit ourselves, you know, that gave me a ton of confidence that this could be a spectacular cup final. And let's hope the form comes back in time as the final takes place on the 27th of February, obviously next month. So right now, we turn our attentions to young Malang Sarr. A ton of clubs are interested in him. Clubs like West Ham, Everton, Leicester City, Newcastle, and of course clubs from abroad as well like AC Milan and many others. So, you know, credit to Malang Sarr, I'm going to say. His stock has definitely risen since he has been introduced to the first team. You guys know my personal thoughts and opinions on him, but, you know, I'm not going to discredit the effort he's put in. And I'll hold my hands up too. He's definitely exceeded the expectations I've had of him because, you know, last season for Porto, you know, he lost that first team place. Second half of the season, he was playing for Porto's B team in that sense. And I was just thinking, okay, you know, if that's happening to you in your career right now, what's that going to do for your chances to make it at our club? But it just goes to show that, you know, we can't always use loan spells as like the final guarantee to like weigh and judge players. I hold my hands up. That's something I need to keep like reminding myself as well too. And if anything, you know, Sarr seems like he'll have a very good career. A part of me maybe cynically might think next season when, you know, we have guys like Colwell that can come back to the team, where we're destined to be signing reinforcement in defence in the summer too. How much game opportunities could Malang Sarr get in the team? I'm not too sure. But regardless, whatever happens, he's guaranteed to have a great career with the level of interest coming out from many good top 10 clubs across Europe for him. So credit to Sarr. Let's hope that he maintains his form and willingness to fight for the team. We're going to need him for this season with all the injuries we have right now, you guys. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. In the comment section below, how do you feel about this Dembele story? Is this a deal we should be getting done? And of course, later today, you guys, there is going to be another video coming out. But I'm actually going to put this poll out on my community page later because I have 2 video ideas. I'll let you guys decide which one should be released for today. So on that note, I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.